Hello, everyone. Kim Victoria here. And look at all these envelopes. I have been saving them. And I have all different kinds, lots of junk mail here, mostly stuff that came in the mail, a great resource. So, what does that mean? That means it is E for envelopes. And I'm going to do an experiment with envelopes. So that's what today is about in hashtag ABC April 2025. This is my contribution. Oh, goodness. I got inspired by all these envelopes and seeing the letter E and going like, oh, I need to do something. I mean, look at all of these. I've shared, we had a little group art session with window envelopes a couple months ago. So I brought my stash and people got to play with them and make some really pretty stuff. So I want to use this. And I've not used it a lot. I've used it for like little flaps and, tuck spots and belly bands. But hey, to make a whole journal out of envelopes, I have not done. So I have a plan. And what these are the ones that I kind of hoard because it's hard to get the blue security envelopes. And they have some really neat patterns. And that's what's really fun about the junk mail that sometimes isn't junk after all. And sometimes it's mail we want and but it has these security envelope aspects or the good windows and there's all kinds of things. So the blue ones I'm not going to use today. I don't have enough. So and I also have a blue envelope. So this is part of my stash. Okay. So I got out a couple brand new envelopes when I was first thinking about it, going like, no, I got to use 100% recycled, repurposed sorts of envelopes. So I'm not going to use these. And these are also another kind of envelope. I have made journals in the past with new stationery envelopes. These are big ones. I got, oh my God, I got a stack, this tall at a yard sale. So I snatched those up, of course, but I'm not going to use those today. But keep that sort of thing in mind. If you see a stationery set at a thrift store and things, things like that, and there's some really pretty stationery in with him, you could just put two envelopes together with a hinge, fold the stationery and sew it in, and you have a little notepad journal sorts of things. Oh, and I thought of this yesterday, so I hope you don't mind. The word envelope is interesting. If we look at the spelling of the word envelope, and these are envelopes. That's a noun. Okay, I get into words. My husband is an author, and we play with words. But sometimes we see words and we hear words, but we don't quite put two and two together. An envelope, the noun, envelops something, the verb. It's the same spelling. So I don't know. I thought of it yesterday. It was like an envelope envelops what you put inside of it. So it's just kind of fun to think about it that way. Anyway, so we're not going to use those. We are going to use my stash of all different kinds. Well, actually, I'm going to use one kind because what I've done here, and they're rubber banded together, is that we've got double window envelopes and we have these really huge window envelopes. So all those kinds. And then there's the single the single window envelopes. And these come in a couple sizes because you get this in the mail and then they put business reply envelopes on the inside. So, and I also have lots of, see, these make great collage layers. All of this, see, it's just really cool. All different kinds of patterns, you know, these security envelopes. There's a real subtle one, but they have great patterns in them. So they're super for collage. Great, huh? So I've already pulled things out. And this is my big sleeve just loaded. And every once in a while, you get some pretty colors. So, yeah, I have kind of a crazy stash. And then there's some that I've taken apart. And I'm going to keep these handy for potentially collage layers in the project. And when we did our little crafty thing, I also cut up some envelopes for the people so that they would have like pockets. So an envelope, you can cut off a corner of an envelope and you have this little tuck spot and you can rubber stamp or stencil or collage or cluster on top of this and glue it into a page and you have a tuck spot, a pocket. So think of envelopes as being parts and pieces that you can use for your other journal insertions. You can also use them in greeting cards. I mean, if you had something like this um, in a greeting card, you could use a little for a like a gift card, or it could just hold a bookmark or a tag or something that would be kind of a gift with the greeting card. I mean, the sky's the limit, right? Okay, so here's what I have decided we're going to do today. I have this envelope that I got when I did a seminar. There may be somebody out there that recognizes these stickers. Yes, I did that seminar. Um, it's a beautiful, perfectly good envelope, which I could actually put a label on and I could mail something with it. And it'd be okay that it has a grackle on it, right? But I decided I'm going to turn this into the cover. And I've already been working on the inside because I will go through it, but you don't need to see all of that cutting and everything like that. And we're going to go through this. So this is my envelopes. Oh, and I want to give credit where credit is due. Absolutely. Where'd I put it? Ah, it's here somewhere. Okay, let's see. Was it A or B? Anyway, Crafty by Toni. Toni did an altered book. And I thought of this envelope thing as soon as I saw this. I want to do envelopes. But what she did was she hinged her papers together instead of sewing them in. I went, aha, that's a good idea. And then Margreth, Seven Plaza, did a correspondent collage cover for a journal cover. So there she was using correspondence, so like letters and invoices and creating collage. So that's kind of what I was talking about here is I was already thinking about these making great collage materials within this project. So put the two together and I'm going to hinge envelopes together. I'm going to hinge envelopes together using the security envelope insides to hinge the envelopes together. So if you don't see anything else, and you stop watching this video, there it is. I'm hinging I'm going to glue these insides to the outsides. I don't know. I've never done it before. That's the experiment. Then we're going to hinge the first envelope to the front of the cover. I'm going to hinge the last envelope to the back of the cover. I'm going to cut these flaps so they open up and this becomes a pocket, an envelope pocket for like a big tag or a writing board, say. And then all of that will fold around. So there it is. That's what I'm going to do today. So if you don't even watch the rest of this, you have that idea, something for you to play with, save envelopes and have some fun with it. And oh, well, what do you do with the envelope afterward? You've got this hinged pocket full of envelopes. Well, put letters in it. I'm going to show that later, but you could just fold it in thirds, your or fourths. You could put tags in here. Um, you could you could just put letters to yourself. I decided to put 12 envelopes in here, so there would be like one for each month. You could write a letter to yourself, what happened the month, what you're happy about, what went on, and stuff like that, and then it would be kind of like a little hidden journal. So there's all kinds of things, and I know your motor is probably running. So this is the project for today. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to glue all of these insides So instead of using the outside, I'm using the inside. And then we'll have some pockets here. So it's like I will glue this side down and down here and here, but then this can be a pocket where the window is. That makes sense? And then I think on this side, the main thing is just reinforcing the stability of the front so that it opens and closes but has a little more stability. Okay, I think I've given you enough of my idea, my experiment. I've never done this before. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue all of my hinge envelopes to the envelopes. And then I'll come back and we'll go to the next step. Okay? All right. And I just wanted to share a quick tip before I do all this gluing so that I can show you what I'm thinking about is that I'm not going to line up the bottom of my hinge envelope with the envelope it's attached to. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I want to give it a little bit of extension. And my thought around that is that by giving dropping that hinge down just a little bit, that will create some expansion room. And the expansion is going to be from what's going into the envelopes. And if everything is tight together, there's going to be the hinge envelope and then the actual usable envelope and another hinge and another envelope and another hinge. It's sort of like allowing if I were to fold this into a little spine, but if I extend it just a little bit below, maybe less than a quarter of an inch, or something in that. It creates expansion room. So that's all I wanted to share around that. And so now I'm going to go ahead and glue them together. But this was my idea of leaving basically a spine, but in the form of just a little expansion room. Okay? All right. I thought it would be useful to show you the process or what I'm doing in my experiment. As I go along, I'm being very careful to check and make sure, but you can kind of see where we've got some uh, some expansion room, and that's working out well. That's what I wanted. Instead of it all being tight together like this, if I was gluing everything right on top of the edge of everything, but I'm leaving that little bit of wiggle room. So we've got some expansion going. So when I came to these window envelope insides, and I can see through into the next envelope, I want to cover that up. So I've been doing that, and I've been making pockets. So I've just taken that's where this other collage material comes in. I've been using these other security envelope parts to create little, and all I have to do is really it's about let's see. Oh no, that's this part is for something else. Okay, so let's get to that. So all right, I'm going to cover that, and I'm going to cover this edge. I've been really taking my time, which I highly recommend because then, oh, it's so easy to go, do something that maybe you just didn't want to do because you get in a hurry, and uh, I want to make this a good video for y'all, so it makes sense. I'm using two glues. I've been using glue stick to kind of cover the whole body of things and the Barely Art Precision Glue for the edges. And that way I don't have to worry about just really gobbing on the glue stick. I've already gone through a couple of tubes. So what I'm doing here is I'm created a reinforcement is all it is covering the top edge of what's going to be a pocket on the window. And we've got a little glue smear here. Come on. I haven't used the Oohoo glue stick before. I was using the Elmer's And I also have a couple of other brands, so I'm going to be experimenting with that. Let's get that flipped over here. And so now, so I've reinforced this edge so that this can be a pocket. And what I want now is to cover up that window underneath. So let me grab another piece of scrap. So I need about half that. You don't have to do any measuring. You just kind of stick it in there and see what works. And I only need it to about there. So I'm going to cover up that area and then I double check, making sure I put the bottom in line with the hinge bottoms. And I go, well, whoops. And go, okay. There, yeah, just go ahead and do that. So I've kind of done a lot here with layers and collaging and I've been doing it all with junk mail envelopes. So now I can double check again, making sure this fold of the hinge envelope matches with the bottom of the hinge envelopes. And this is just a tad wide, so I need to trim it from the non-window side. That way. Yes, yes, yes. As it doesn't need to go edge to edge. Okay. So I check and double check, and so now that is just the way I want it. And sometimes I'll do a little mark. I don't want the glue to go beyond that point because that's my pocket. And I also don't want the glue to go on that bottom 1/4 inch. So this Barely Craft glue, there's also the Art Institute Art Glitter Glue. That one is the one that Margreth really likes. And I haven't used that one yet, but I've really been enjoying this one so much. There we go. So just take your time. I want to make sure that this is lined up with the hinge, the bottom of the hinge edge. And it's nice using the glue stick and just this glue on the edges because this sticks fast. You don't have much time to make adjustments, and the glue stick gives you a little bit of wiggle room. So that's in place. We have a pocket. I've had a few pockets. They haven't all been pockets, but there have been a few. So now I double check to make sure that the upper edge isn't going to go over the edge of this. Let's see, find one that, okay, so let's see, you have options. So I went short with this pointy envelope, but for some pointy envelopes, here we go. For some pointy envelopes, I put glue along those diagonal edges, but nothing in here. So this just reinforced the opening quite a bit. So I just went high on this one. I didn't on this one. So, just a little variety. Okay, for something like this where it's just straight across, that's easy. I do put a block in the way so that I don't get glue on the envelope below. And you can see I'm gluing high. I'm not gluing that actually, I'm going about 3/8 of an inch. I did a 1/4 inch on the first couple of them, and then I decided I would give it a little more expansion room. And I always put the flap up, take away the guard, so that I can see the envelopes underneath. Oh, I hope that's in frame. And just making sure I line everything up, keep it straight. Open it up and burnish it down. So there we have that. Okay, I've got 2 more to go, and then we will work on getting it into the front cover and doing the cover part. Really get into the cover experimental part. So look at that. I think it's fun. I think it's fun. Now, absolutely, you could use washi tape to kind of reinforce the upper edges of any of your pockets. You could use washi tape on the leading edge of your envelope if you wanted to make that more decorative. Put it, on the flaps. You could really go to town. You could collage each of these with colorful stuff and all kinds of papers. These are kind of like base layers. So this can be a journal in process, you know? I mean, there's tags to make, there's inserts, all sorts of things to be done. So this is like a really fun base layer on which all kinds of other fun stuff can be done. So now we want to get to fixing this cover envelope, which, okay, a cover envelope also, which is what Margreth did, is you can collage this whole envelope, outside and inside. And that can be done later too. And the first part about the inside, though, is attaching the journal part to it. So this is where we want to do a little careful measuring. So I think what I'll do is I'll line it up on the board here and get the envelopes lined up. And I'm just going to leave like just a little bit of space. Am I still in frame? Yeah, I'm still in frame. Little bit of space over here, just that little cushion sort of area. And this will be the first fold of, make sure. Yeah. So you can see where the line is and where this first hinge will be. So I need to cut this flap. I don't know where I learned this, but if you fold this over carefully, without creasing, don't crease over here, but you can see the profile of the flap. And then you can match the shape of that profile. There. So now we have a flap here. So the next thing I need to determine is, well, definitely if that's going to be the spine, I want to lighten the load there a little bit. Okay, so now how wide am I going to make this? Especially with our little expanding kind of thing here. So it doesn't have to be super expansive, but I want to keep it loose. So I'm looking at this lining up with this, leaving, oh no, I just want that to be spot on. I want that to be right on that line there. And then I want to keep these loose. It's actually gotten pretty wide, hasn't it? We're looking at 1.5 inches right now. So if I just go with that measurement, yeah, right now we're at 1.5 inches. So if I do that, and that's folded up, there's still room for there to be a flap to wrap around. So I think I'm going to go in that direction and just do, now what do we got here? All right, so I want to go 1.5 inches. So I want to go to 6. What I'm doing is that, okay, this is 4 and 9/16. So I just move it over to 4.5, and then I can see 1.5 inches really easily. So I want to do that with the top of the envelope too. This is 4 and 9/16. So move it over to the half, and then I've got my 1/2 inch. So our little grackle is going to disappear. Oh well. I love grackles. We were having grackles coming in. Um, we had the bird feeder out, but we've got a lot of feral cats right now, so we're not been putting feed in the bird feeder until something can be resolved with the ferals. Okay, so we're going to have to decide what's going to happen with the spine. Now, I know that I just need a shorter flap. So I think what I will do is get my folds started. And these could be on the outside, yeah, I could have the flaps on the outside. Oh, there we go. I kind of held it that way and looked at it and went, do I want the flaps on the outside or the inside? I thought, no, I think, let's have a nice smooth cover here. And I do plan on collaging this, and probably not just with just with these, but we'll see what comes from it. So I've got my spine happening, and let's get that started. There we go. We'll see how it goes with the wraparound. All right, so that's what I have right now. Yeah, I probably could have made the spine a little bit narrower. Okay, well, it is what it is. So since this is 4 and 9/16, I want this to be 4 and 9/16. Yeah, that doesn't leave me much, but I can always add an extension. I mean, we we can do a lot with this. So 4, and let's see, that leaves me with 1.25 inches and 1.25 inches. I like to make sure that I've got the same distance here. All right. Okay. Now, obviously this flap, we don't need that flap. So I'm going to want to glue that down. So now I just need to cut these flaps. So again, I can just kind of bend this around. Line it up. There we go. It's kind of tricky holding it in that position, but let's have a good grip on it. Oh my, it doesn't want to stay. All right. Okay, so that can get glued down. I think I'll round that over a bit and glue that down. That is not going to be a pocket. We'll work that out. Okay, there is the basic structure for that. And what I am going to do, make sure I've got everything the right direction. I guess. So my goal here is to put this hinge just on the, in this case, left side of this line, and put this hinge on this line. All right, here goes. This is the experiment part. I was thinking of leaving a pocket there. This is high enough that I can put quite a bit of glue here because I want this to be adhering to this in a strong way. I don't, and I also have to be mindful that there's this opening here. So for me to put glue here would close the opening because it would be up here. So I'm going to glue here and here, and then I'll decide what to do over here because I might not need to put anything there. So I'm just going to start by, this was a reinforcement fold. Okay, well, that's the whole thing. It's in woodworking. My husband is also a woodworker. So, you measure 3 times and cut once. It's the old adage is measure twice, cut once. And I have found check, double check, and triple check. It's just it just there's so many things that can happen that you don't want to have happen, that you want to be very, very, very careful. So on this one, I am going to glue all the way to the bottom. I got plenty of wiggle room within the rest of the envelopes. So this one, I'm going to be extra generous with the strong glue. So I want this to be stronger. So it probably wasn't a good idea to leave a pocket, but I'm going to try it. I'm going about an inch up. And I'm going to slip something in here so that I don't glue the whole thing down. All right, here goes. Here goes. Well, everything's straight. I love how excited Toni gets when she tries something and it works. It's so cute. And I get really excited, but I don't giggle as much. I think I should giggle more. Yeah, sure enough, I had a little bit of glue up here, so good thing to put a little protection in there. All right. Oh, look, there's enough space that I can put just a line of glue on there. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Okay. Awesome. Here we go. Aha. Yes, take things slow and figure it out as you go. I tend to be a planner, so it's kind of weird to just wing it like this. Okay, I'm gonna put a little extra up here. Yeah, just to make sure everything is stuck tight. I need to leave that a little air for a minute so that it can set. All right, let's leave a little air space there for a minute. Well, so far so good. And when this is all in place, that will flap down like that. And of course, this could always just go on the inside. This flap could go on the inside. I can't do it necessarily after everything's in place, but it could go inside and I could have a tag sticking out. So that is something to consider as well. Now, before I put this down, where was that? There was this little doodad. I got to glue that little part of the flap down. And another consideration, of course, is adding some kind of support through this area. And I think that would be a good idea to do it on the inside. Yes. Let me get some sturdy paper for the inside. I looked at my cardboard stuff and there was this piece, it's a lightweight cardboard that was on the back of a scrapbook pad. So of course I save all of that and put a lot of glue on it. Now, I could have slipped that inside the envelope, so it would have been completely hidden. So there you go. There's another option. Okay, now that that is on there, I think I will cut off this glue strip. This is the last hinge envelope. All right, let's get our come on. There it is. All right. Well, that's what I was striving for. So let's see what happens when I put it on. I better use the other. This is a little thicker. Okay. Here goes. Uh, well, I'm certainly not making a pocket out of this back one. Hey, hooty-doo. Just lining it up with the lines that I created before, getting it on the other side of that cardboard strip. Oops. Oops, 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 oops. Oh. Oh, I'm just making it. It's not gluing down that opening. Yeah. Ooh, it just made it. All right, there's that. And that. Whoa. Well, it's sort of like more of a box here. I think what I'm going to have to do is, well, I got a couple of options. So one of the options that I think of right away is trim this down, fold it over, and maybe glue it here and have a tuck spot. And forget about having a wraparound, especially since I made the spine so wide that there's not enough envelope to go all the way around. So that is certainly an option. And really, the other way that that could be good is because I can add uh, closure, a couple of brads with buttons and wrap it around here. I have to play with it. So what I would like to do, and I will do, I think this is pretty cool. I think this is really neat as a foundation. And it works. See, there we go. Look at that. So it's not like it's something you write on. It's something that you write on something else, and then you put it inside. But meanwhile, this makes a foundation for collage work. You see, look at that. That's working. Oh my God. Yeah. Oh, look at that. By leaving a little bit of a spine, even though it was a fold, it was still acting as a bit of a spine. Look at that. Way cool. I mean, it's not super, it's strong enough. It's not something you want to be really rough with. And it's like we have the plastic that was the inside of the window envelope. So that could have some washi tape or something put around it so that it obscures the plastic edges from the window. How's that show? Yeah, you can see that with the bit of a shine there. You can see the window edges, but it's really cool because you do have a pocket. And I put a pocket in the middle of this one. It's not a very big pocket. I was thinking stability. I really wanted this to have some strength. So let's see how this one's doing. Okay, see, I glued it up an inch, so it's not a deep pocket, but it's still a pocket. And, oops. So I think that's what I think that's where I'll leave it for now. Yeah, even that's working. Very, very cool. Yeah, not bad for an experiment. Yeah, it needs something. I mean, even if I took a big piece of scrapbook paper or did a lightweight scrapbook paper and did some collage on that and then cut it to size and glued it on all three sides, that would look really nice too, right? Okay. This is where I'm going to leave this for now. This is an envelope pocket journal. And of course it could hold ephemera too. Whoops. Ooh, got a little sticky spot there. Whoop. It could hold ephemera. Yeah, let your imagination go. I hope this was an interesting project. So there you go. You can see all the wiggle room that we have here. I don't know, that's kind of fun, huh? Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna trim this, fold it over, and glue it down and just create a side tuck there because there's just no point in fiddling around with it this way because it's not enough. So, okay, there it is. This is my offering for the E-Day of the hashtag ABC April 2025. It is a 100% repurposed envelope pocket journal. Cool. All right. I hope you are inspired and know another option of what to do with all of those extra envelopes that come in the mail. I'm going to pursue this. Yep, definitely. This deserves to continue. All right. On that note, I will leave you and thank you so much for watching. And I hope you'll join me in another video. Bye for now.